Okay, so for the ingredients we're going to need for the turkey is here we have a nice boneless breast which has the skin on. We're going to need some sage, some rosemary, 2 lemons, and we're just going to use the zest from the lemon. In a roasting pan, what I have here is I have carrots, I have 1 onion, red or yellow is fine, I just have red, and about 4 stalks of celery which I've broken up. And they're going to kind of act as the rack that holds the turkey breast. And then of course you need the stuffing already made. Okay, so what you need to do first is you need to butterfly your turkey breast. And what you do is you want to take a nice sharp knife and right in the middle you want to start cutting down and then angling your knife over and moving the turkey flesh off a little bit. So you're kind of making it a little bit skinnier. And then once you're down the middle, you want to go on the right side. So you do both sides and angle it over. Then, at this point, what you want to do is you want to pound it a little bit. And I usually take a Ziploc bag, and then I take a meat mallet, and I pound it a little bit. Now, if you don't have a meat mallet, you can always use a nice little saucepan. And it works almost as good as a meat mallet. Okay, so now to season the turkey breast before we put the stuffing in. I'm going to take a lemon zester and I'm going to put a little bit of lemon zest on the turkey meat, on the turkey breast here. As that'll bring out some nice bright citrus notes and really makes the flavor pop. And I usually like the citrus flavor for wine pairings. I'm going to add a little bit of rosemary, fresh rosemary. I'm going to add a little bit more sage. A little bit of salt. Some fresh ground pepper. And now I'm going to add our stuffing. And I'm going to put a nice round cylinder of stuffing. In the center of the breast. And any remaining stuffing you have, and I love stuffing, you can just put it in a baking dish and put it in the oven and brown it for about 20 minutes and it will be done. So you can have extra stuffing if you'd like. Then you want to basically bring the meat over. Start seasoning this side of it. Gently turn it around so you get the skin side up while maintaining everything on the inside. And then you're going to season the top part. Put a good amount of salt on the skin, as that actually helps make the skin become crispy. Some more lemon zest. Some more pepper. And now we're going to want to tie it. And you want to use butcher twine for that. Okay, so now I'm going to tie the turkey breast. Not too tight, as you don't want to push the stuffing out. And once it's tied, we're going to put it right into its roasting pan that has the celery, carrots, and the onion. And this is a typical butcher. These are typical butcher knots that I'm doing for roasts. Makes you kind of popular at parties. And just tie it off. We're going to then put it into the roasting pan. I'm going to drizzle with a little bit of olive oil. Just make sure that that it's patted in pretty well. Now this is a trick that is important. I cover it with a towel, or I call a baking towel. And what that does is it helps keep the moisture in, and it helps keep the skin moist. Because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some nice Sebastiani Chardonnay to the top of it, moisten the towel with that. And then I'm going to add some fresh pomegranate juice. Now, I already preheated my oven to 375, and what I'm going to do now is cover this with aluminum foil, and we're going to put it in the oven and bake it. And depending on the size breast is going to depend on how long you bake it for. This size breast will easily take about an hour to bake at 375. The most important thing you want to do is to make sure that the internal temperature, so the temperature of the stuffing, is at about 160 degrees. And remember, you're going to want to pull it out about 10 minutes prior. You'll see that we removed the towel and put it back in so that the skin gets nice and brown. Okay, so now I'm going to unwrap our roast turkey here. As you can see, that the towel I put on it kept it nice and moist. Now we need to brown the skin a little bit, and that'll be about another 10 minutes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly check the temperature to make sure we are there. And you check the temperature, put a thermometer right into the center, and you want it to be reading about 155, 160, and that means it's done. So now all that needs to be done is finish. We're just going to finish with a nice brown roasting of the outside skin, and it'll be ready to go. That'll take about 10 more minutes at about 375. Okay, so now that the turkey breast is nice and brown, we need to make the gravy. And the first thing we need to do is put the turkey breast to rest for about 10 minutes so that the juices don't run out. And what we'll do is we'll move it onto a serving platter. We're going to cover it with the baking towel that we used earlier, and cover it with the aluminum foil again. Now this is all what we're going to use to make our gravy. We'll probably add a little more pomegranate juice to it, and a little bit of butter, and some cornstarch as thickener. Okay, so in a nice saute pan, I put all the contents of the roasting pan in, which is the gravy and the vegetables. I'll mash them up a little bit because I want to get some of that flavor out. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a little bit more pomegranate juice, about a good half a cup, and let it boil. I'm also going to add about a tablespoon of butter, and that will give us a nice richness. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of cornstarch as a thickener. I'm going to add some salt, not a lot, I've tasted it so it doesn't need a whole lot of salt, and then I'm going to add some pepper. Then with a whisk, I'm going to slowly whisk this until it gets nice and thick, and then I'll strain the contents, and we'll be ready to go for our turkey breast. You definitely want to, once you strain it, you definitely want to taste it again to make sure that it has enough salt and pepper. I always add salt and pepper mostly at the end of my cooking process as I'm trying to bring flavors up. The pomegranate fruit has some wonderful flavors to it. It pairs nicely with all types of game. The Venetians during the Renaissance brought it back from Persia and started cooking a lot of their foods in pomegranate juice. In fact, the recipe that you're having that I've made is a classic old Venetian game recipe. And pomegranates have a nice amount of tannins to them, and the tannins are very similar to the tannins that are found in red wines. So I believe in like flavors. So this has been cooking down for about good 4 or 5 minutes. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to strain off the vegetables and finish the pomegranate gravy in the saucepan. Cut. Okay, so you want to remove the string from the turkey breast. And then just do some nice straight cuts. I usually like to cut it about an inch thick, or about the width of my thumb. Cut. Okay, so to plate it up, if you wanted to not do a buffet, what you want to do is put a good portion of your roasted butternut squash right in the center of the plate. Take 2 nice, beautiful stuffed turkey breasts, and then top it with our pomegranate gravy. And now for the final ingredient, the wines. For this dish, I picked 3 separate Sebastiani wines. The first one being the Sonoma Coast Pinot Noir. It pairs really great with this dish because of its sweet baking spices and berry notes that it has really complement the dish. The other wine that I like very well with this is the Sonoma County Cabernet Sauvignon, and that has some concentrated black fruit flavors as well as some dry cherries. But probably the best wine for me for this dish, which to me is the culmination of Sebastiani wines, is the Cherry Block, which is their Sonoma Valley Cabernet Sauvignon. It has phenomenal blackberry and deep currant fruit flavors, which really pop when paired with this pomegranate reduction sauce, as well as the chestnut stuffing. So for all of you watching, please have a happy and safe holiday season. Thank you.